Okay, so let's mark this information in our picture. KM bisects JL. So that means KM is cutting this segment into 2 equal pieces. So those 2 are the same. Then JK is congruent to LK. So put 2 tick marks on those. And then that's all they told us. So I can mark that both triangles share that side. Oh boy, this is another side, side, side. So I'm going to end up using side, side, side to prove the triangles are congruent. Okay, I need to get to the point where MK is going to be bisecting this angle. So if it's bisecting that angle, I know that I need this angle and this angle to be the same. So it's cutting the big angle in half and making 2 angles that are smaller and they're congruent. So after side, 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 I'm going to need to use CPCTC to show those 2 angles are congruent. And then after CPCTC, once I have those angles are congruent, I know that means that MK has to be a bisector. So to get to that point, you're going to have to use the definition of bisect. Okay, and that's usually how it's going to go. You're going to go from, if it's not just prove angle or sides are congruent, after the triangles are congruent, you'll do prove the triangles are congruent, use CPCTC, and use the definition of something for your very last step. Okay, so for step 2, let's see here. In the given information, we got that one set of sides was congruent, so I can cross off one of my S's. The next set, let's see here, KM bisects JL. KM bisects, that's how I got these 2 sides. So that's JM is congruent to ML. And there was a word in the given. This is the definition of the word. So this is definition of bisect. And once you get that done, you can cross off another S. Step 3, the last side that we need to say is the one they share. So KM is congruent to Km by the reflexive property. Okay, that means I can cross off another S. All right, so we've got that the triangles are congruent. So that's going to be what we need to say next because I've crossed off everything in this to-do list. So triangle, and you can name these however you want. Just make sure that the corresponding parts line up. So I'm going to say JMK is congruent to triangle LMK. The reason is side, side, side. Okay, now that the triangles are congruent, I know their corresponding parts will be congruent. Up here, I want the 2 angles that are up here by K. K is going to be the vertex of both of them, and notice the K is in the same position when I named those triangles. So I have to use 3 letters to name that angle since there's 3 different angle K's in the picture. So angle JKM is congruent to angle LKM, and that reason is because it's a corresponding part of the triangles. So CPCTC, I'm going to cross that off my to-do list. Now the very last thing is to say that that line segment is going to be bisecting that angle since it created 2 congruent angles. So MK bisects angle JKL. Definition of bisect. The end.